Hari Om, welcome to another session in literature. The story that I have intended to take up today is in the kingdom of fools. A story that is meant for IX CBSE. And every time I need to tell you that literature is a myriad collection of anecdotes, lessons that give us lessons of life. Now, every time before starting off with a poetry, a poem, a story, I talk about the writer. Today, before starting off with the story, let me talk about A.K. Ramanujan, the writer of this particular story. Ramanujan was born in the year 1929 and he died in the year 1993. He was born on 16th March and he died on 13th July. He was basically an Indian poet and a scholar who wrote both in English and Kannada language, Kannada. Ramanujan was a poet, scholar, professor, philologist, folklorist, translator and playwright. Now, talking about Ramanujan, every Indian writer, especially the writers who wrote about India, Ramanujan is one of them. A.K. Ramanujan is very famous for his acute observation of the Indian characters, let me tell you. This story is a humorous story. This story is a, brilliant portrayal of different psychological facets, different psychological, angles. As we proceed with the story, we'll see how peculiar man can behave. But the lesson that comes out from this particular story is that of a teacher, is that of knowledge and right guidance. Let's start. In the kingdom of fools, both the king and the ministers were idiots. They didn't want to run things like the other kings. So they decided to change night into day and day into night. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night and till their fields and run their businesses only after dark, and go to bed as soon as the sun came up. My dear audiences, my dear students, let me tell you, it is good always to be different from the others. It is always good to be doing something that is unique. But challenging the law of nature, challenging the law of the universe is the most foolish thing. In order to do something differently, in order to do something unique, the king and the ministers, everybody in that kingdom, they converted night into day and day into night. Whatever chores, whatever work was supposed to be done during the day was, commanded to be done at night, and whatever job that was to be done at night, that is sleeping of course, was to be done during the day. The basic thing is, Ramanujan, as I told you, was a superb observer. And not only Ramanujan, writers like Mulk Raj Anand, writers like R.K. Narayan, all the Indian writers who have been writing, Raja Rao, Mahesh Dattani, like over the years, Indian characters have been very beautifully portrayed by these writers and poets. Ramanujan is not new to the genre, let me tell you. Whenever we talk about 20th century fiction or 20th century poetry, late 19th, 20th century, Ramanujan's name happens to strike, among the other writers, the veteran writers. Now the story here talks about the foolishness of the king and the ministers. So already we saw that the king had ordered that the people should not be awake during the day, they should be sleeping during the day and should be awake at night, should be doing all the farming, tilling of land, plowing of fields, everything at night. Well, anyone who disobeyed would be punished with death. That reminds me of a beautiful shloka in Sanskrit, let me tell you. I am not well versed in Sanskrit, but then this shloka is very important. Buddhi jasya balantasya. I wanted to tell this to you because the shloka means he who has got knowledge has got the real power. He who has got education, he who is rightfully educated actually is powerful. And keep this shloka in mind when you do the story. You will be finding n number of places, and especially at last when we derive the moral. And that is the reason why I told you that it's always necessary to have a guru in life, to have a teacher in life. So as as we proceed towards the end of the story, we'll be seeing how this buddhi jasya balantasya shlok, this kahavat that is there in Sanskrit, the proverb rather, comes to be true. Well, whoever did not listen to that, whoever did not abide by the rules devised by the king, had to die. The people did as they were told for fear of death. The king and the ministers were delighted at the success of their project. They were very happy. Wow, people are sleeping at, in the morning, and they are tilling their farms, they're tilling their fields, plowing the fields at night. So they were very happy, the ministers, the king, everybody was very happy. So one day, and from here the story starts, this was the backdrop of the story, the place. One day, a guru and his disciple arrived in the city. It was a beautiful city. It was broad daylight, but there was no one about. Obviously, guru and the disciples, the students, they were like new to the city, and the moment they entered into the vicinity, the boundary of the city, they found nobody. And it was very new to them. It was very, something that was very uncommon. So everyone was asleep, not a mouse stirring. Stirring, moving. Even the cattle had been taught to sleep by day. The two strangers, were amazed by what they saw around them. So this guru and his student, when the two of them reached the city, when they entered into the city, they were very, they were very puzzled, they were perplexed in a way. They were unable to understand that something bizarre, something very strange was going on. So the two strangers were amazed by what they saw around them and wandered around town till evening, when suddenly the whole town woke up and went about its nightly business. So it came to the guru and his disciple as a shock. Oh my God, how can that be possible? During the day these people are all sleeping, and at night suddenly the entire town comes to life. That was very unique, The two men were hungry. Now that the shops were open, they went to buy some groceries. To their astonishment, they found that everything cost the same. So, a single dudu is the currency, that they took for whatever they gave. Whether they bought a measure of rice or a bunch of bananas, it cost a dudu. The Guru and his disciple were delighted. They were very happy, They had never heard of anything like this. They could buy all the food they wanted for a rupee. Now, in the beginning of my lecture, I told you, doing something unique is not wrong. You have legends, You have legends who have gone out of the way to do something great, to do something very unconventional. But I told you, going against the law of nature, going against something that is predestined by the Almighty, that is not sensibility, let me tell you. Now, in the very beginning of this lesson, we get two lessons from here. Lesson number one, that I told you, that doing things in a unique manner is not bad, but challenging the law of nature is something that is very risky. The second most important thing that I am going to talk about, is everything, my dear viewers, let me tell you, my dear students, let me tell you, everything in this world has got a right value. And if you overestimate something or if you underestimate something, both are bad. Here, whatever was being sold, whatever was being purchased, whatever it be, whatever, it costs a single rupee that they called dudu. Now you tell me, how is that possible? How is that? I mean, that is another foolishness that these people took to. They could buy all the food they wanted for just a rupee. I mean, that is something which is very horrendous, something very, surprising, something very strange, enigmatic. When they had cooked and eaten, the Guru realized that this was a kingdom of fools, and it wouldn't be a good idea for them to stay there. This is no place for us. Let's go. Let's leave the place. He said to his disciple, but the disciple didn't want to leave the place. Everything was cheap here. All he wanted was good, cheap food. The Guru said, the Guru here did not like the idea that they should stay in the place. And he finally said, they are all fools. This won't last very long. And you can't tell what they'll do you next. A very beautiful lesson that comes at this point of time again is the importance of right knowledge. My dear boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something at this point of time. What can save us in the world is education. Education does not come from books. Education comes from experience. The Guru was experienced, and that is the reason why the Guru stopped the disciple from staying there, and that is the reason why he said that he suggested that they should leave the place and go away. But in English, there is a word, procrastination. Procrastination. Find out the meaning in the dictionary. I want all of you to find out the meaning. It's fun, When you want to get everything without working for it, that is procrastination. I'll tell you the meaning. I told it. But still you find out the meaning. See, children, viewers, ladies and gentlemen, nothing in this world comes for free. The Shishya here, the disciple, was fascinated by the appearance of the town. And this is the second lesson that we get from the story here. Never, 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 never ever get beguiled or intrigued, cheated, deceived by what you get to see in front of you. Everything was very cheap here, definitely. And it was very cheap because these people lacked sensibility. They lacked sensibility. And that is the reason why the Guru could sense that something wrong might happen. And that is the reason why he told his disciple, that it's not a good idea to stay. And that is the reason why I use that word procrastination, because the disciple could not take the lesson that the Guru was about, trying to give him at this point of time. When he saw everything was very cheap, when he saw everything is like almost it's for free, he was easily intrigued and attracted. Well, this won't last for very long, said the Guru, But the disciple wouldn't listen to the Guru and his, the Guru's wisdom. He wanted to stay. The Guru finally gave up and said, do what you want, I'm going. And he left. The disciple stayed on, ate his fill every day. Every day the disciple, enjoyed a lot of food, because he was getting a lot of food for free almost. He didn't have to pay. See, when you develop the habit of getting something for free, or when you are into that habit of enjoying things without struggling for it, it is then when you are procrastinated, let me tell you. And that leads to trouble in life. If you are able to earn your bread in future, whatever you earn, you sweat for that, you perspire for that, you put your efforts for that, that is actually fruitful. But when somebody offers you something, or probably you are in the habit of taking, favors from people, that is then when you have a lot to suffer from. Let's see what happens to the disciple here. He did not listen to the Guru, and that is the reason why he stayed back. He kept on eating and filling his tummy, filling his belly. So bananas and ghee, rice, wheat, and grew fat like a street side sacred bull. Sand ki tarah, like a bull. He bloated. He bloated. Because everything that he was getting was for a song. He was getting things for a song. Just a dudu, that 1 rupee, and he could get as much food possible, and that too pure food. One bright day, now from here the story starts taking a turn, One bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. He had made a hole in the wall and sneaked in. And as he was carrying out his loot, the wall of the old house collapsed on his head and killed him on the spot. His brother ran to the king and complained, "Your Highness, when my brother was pursuing his ancient trade, that is robbery, a wall fell on him and killed him. The merchant is to blame. He should have built a good wall, strong wall. You must punish the wrongdoer and compensate the family for this injustice. Look at this incident. And that itself shows the lack of sensibility in the king. It shows lack of sensibility in the ministers and also the people. Imagine a thief dying under such circumstances. And instead of realizing the mistake, the grave mistake, justice is being demanded for a wrong thing. And you will find the king supporting the thief's brother. You know, that brings to another lesson here at this point of time. Wherever there is lack of education, justice is always wrongly done. Justice is always wrongly done. Look at that. The thief died because the wall fell on him. Instead of, considering that as a divine punishment by God, the king will be taking some different steps, And look at the audacity. Look at the dare of the thief's brother. The dare of the thief's brother. How daringly he goes and he asks for justice for his brother's life. Who should have complained? The merchant should have complained. Who is complaining? The thief's brother is complaining. Who should have been given justice? The merchant should have been given justice. Who is asking for justice? The thief's brother is asking justice for a thief. Imagine. The king said, and this is the worst part, where sensibility is challenged. Justice will be done. Don't worry. And at once he called the owner of the house. So when the merchant arrived, the king questioned him, "What's your name?" "Such and such, your highness." "Were you at home when the dead man burgled your house?" "Yes, my lord. He broke in and the wall was weak. It fell on him." The accused pleads guilty. Your wall killed this man's brother. Look at the justice that is being done. And this is why Ramanujan, in a very beautiful manner, has brought out the importance of being sensible. See, let me tell you, I was talking a couple of minutes back, I was telling you, what appears to you, if you take that to be true, you are easily deceived. And that is exactly what the king has done. The thief's brother died. The fact that the thief had burgled into the merchant's house became something secondary, and what appeared to the king is what he took to be primary. So, justice wrongly done is a mark of insensibility. So your wall, said the king, has killed this man. Now, Lord, said the helpless merchant, I didn't put up the wall. It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He didn't build it right. You should punish him. Another fault. Insensible people never ever accept their mistake. And that is the same mistake that was committed by the thief's brother. That is the same mistake that was committed by the king. And that is the same mistake that is getting committed by the merchant also, because the merchant is clueless. He does not even understand the seriousness of the situation, that actually he is the victim. He himself is the victim. He does not understand that. And that is what makes the title very significant, in the kingdom of fools. So the man who built the wall, he didn't build it right. You should punish him. Who is that? Asked the king, My lord, this wall was built in my father's time. I know the man. He is an old man now. He lives nearby. The king sent out messengers to bring in the bricklayer who had built the wall. They brought him, tied hand and foot. Look at that. Whose mistake and who's getting punished? And that is exactly what happens in the society even today, let me tell you. Even today, there are people who do not accept their mistakes. They blame it. They blame others for it. They blame it on others, And innocent people unnecessarily are punished. So the man was brought with his hands and feet tied. You there, did you build the wall? This man's wall in his father's time? Yes, my lord, I did. What kind of a wall is this that you built? It has fallen on a poor man and killed him. What an irony. What an irony. The man who was actually guilty is pleading, and the man who is actually the victim is in the dock. Katghade mein khada hai wo, is in the dock, is being questioned. So you have murdered him. Look at the allegation, look at the blame. We have to punish you by death. Before the king could order the execution, the killing, the poor bricklayer pleaded, please listen to me before you give your orders. It's true I built this wall and it was no good. But that was because my mind was not on it. I remember very well the dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day with her anklets jingling. I couldn't keep my eyes or my mind on the wall I was building. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives. Another blame game being played. The merchant who was actually innocent has been, considered guilty. The thief who was actually guilty has been considered innocent. The bricklayer who had built the wall has been brought for questioning, and now the bricklayer says that it's not his fault. The fault lies in that beautiful dancer, who was pacing up and down the street, who was walking up and down the street, and that is the reason why he could not pay attention, he could not concentrate on building the wall. Therefore, that dancer should be brought and should be questioned and punished, not him. How funny is that? Well, you're right, said the king, The case depends. What an irony. Look at the king's foolishness. The amount of idiosyncrasy is too high here. We must look into it. It is not easy to judge such complicated cases. Where was it complicated? Tell me. Where was it complicated? It was a simple case where a thief enters into the house of a merchant. In that process of burglary, dies. The case is open and shut. But look at where the case, takes a turn due to the lack of sensibility. Therefore, A.K. Ramanujan, in a very beautiful manner, has tried to portray a fool's foolishness. Foolery is not of one type, let me tell you. Foolery is of different types. You get to see here. Different fools gathering together, congregating together, and displaying, a kaleidoscope, displaying, a mixture, an amalgamation of foolishness. Let's get that dancer. Now the king has ordered, wherever she is, the dancing girl, now an old woman. The dancing girl is now an old woman, and she was trembling, and she was brought to the court. Did you walk up and down that street many years ago? Look at justice, how that happens here. While this poor man was building the wall, did you see him? Yes, my lord, I remember it very well. So you did walk up and down with your anklets jingling. You were old, you were young and you distracted him. So he built a bad wall. So today, I shall stop here. And I have a question. Tell me, what is real justice? Real justice means when you are aware of all the perspectives of the case and you are unbiased, you are not prejudiced. And then, it is then when you are a sensible man. We have got plenty of examples here in this particular story where they lack sensibility, and the real sensible person, the guru, has actually managed to walk out of the entire situation. The worst thing again is his disciple, very ironically, gets attracted to what he sees in front of him. So the title is very significant as of now. It is indeed a kingdom of fools, It is indeed a kingdom of fools where all fools have congregated, where all fools have gathered, and they have displayed, a kaleidoscope of foolishness. So I will expect you to read the story till here. And if you have any doubts, please do comment in the comment section, or you can get to me. The students, who have my numbers and all, they can get back to me, and I shall be very happy to help you. I hope you understood whatever I explained. Please take care of yourselves and stay safe at home. Thank you so much. Hari Om.